So the impetus for this video came from this image. Well, not really this image, this version of the maps page on the wiki, which has Crash Course, Judging Hall, Laser Stadium, and Warmland, yeah? All very normal PvP maps. And then you get Desert Oasis. Yeah. Yeah, so this is, apparently, the Homelander image with, like, the face of Homelander on the top of the Mecha Bunny and Nerducky. Yeah. Now, obviously, this is being used, or was being used, as a placeholder on the TDS Wiki. And I thought this is such a realistic rendition of something that the developers would make up that I thought it was actually the placeholder image for Desert Oasis in Tower Defense Simulator. Whereas, actually, that wasn't the case. No, this was just a placeholder image until someone got the icon for Desert Oasis and the view icons. Because, I mean, previously, it was stretched out. If you have to know what the page looks like before the thing, yeah, this is what it looked like. Yeah. It's a realistic placeholder, right? When developers, they usually, when they add stuff to their game, they have a placeholder image, and there are some still placeholder images that we can see that I'll review later on in this video. But I thought this was one of the placeholder images that they used for Desert Oasis. Not the case. Now, the reason why I thought this is because the Desert Oasis is one of those PvP maps which is kind of new. This isn't based upon a previous PvP _number map. So, in case you didn't know, all of the other PvP maps that have been added or leaked to the game, they have been based upon a previous version of PvP map. So, for example, here, right, this is this map for original PvP testing. There is a full map version of it with details and everything made by Adversary. However, that map has not been added to Tower Defense Simulator yet. If we go to the other maps, such as Crash Course, this map was based upon PvP _1, which looked like this. And then if you go over to here, PvP _1 is exactly like Crash Course. It's the same for Judging Hall. That is based upon PvP _2. Laser Stadium is based on PvP _4. And Warmland is based on PvP _5. You'll notice that they are missing PvP _3. That's kind of true. There is a map for this, but to be fair, that map is in the game, I do believe, but developers have not released it yet. Whereas Desert Oasis is the first unique map for PvP mode, at least, that isn't based upon those original 11 maps used for PvP testing, which is why I thought it had a very convincing placeholder image that the developers used, which is not the case. It's only the wiki that used this image. But there are some other interesting placeholder images that the game did use for other stuff during this update. Now, this placeholder image can actually still be seen if you join the game very quickly and your internet isn't that great. The unranked image doesn't actually load in properly, and as you can see here, you have like a cat that is having its tongue out, that's about to lick the camera. And yes, this is also a placeholder image, except this is the unrendered placeholder image if your rank isn't identified, and that's including unranked. I have no idea why this is a placeholder image, given the fact that this is a unique image that developers have used. Also, for some reason, the placeholder image is actually near enough square, whereas here is actually a rectangle. I do not know why the developers made it into a rectangle here. Other than maybe that's what the rank images use, but then general 1 doesn't look like a rectangle, so I don't know. And next, another interesting placeholder is the ban icon for the blue team. So when you have the banning stuff, there's like 2 X's there. There is your blue team X, which is a blue X, and then you have the red team X, which is a red X. However, for some weird reason, the blue team X, it had a placeholder image, which I don't know why it had a placeholder image, but it had a placeholder image. The red team X wasn't a placeholder, it was just the blue team X. And this is, I guess, the quintessential placeholder image that the developers use for like nearly all of their products. It is this. It's the default enemy icon image that's used if there is no rendered version of it in the game for logbooks. So, for example, ironically enough, the PNG bots, they use this image, even though this cat isn't actually part of the PNG bot roster. I don't know how many cats. There are 11 cats, interestingly enough, but this is the icon used in the index icon, even though it is bugged. Yes, it's true. It's meant to be this one. This is meant to be the icon image used for the PNG bots. But interestingly, they use the placeholder, which kind of fits in, but it is a placeholder image. I do believe that the Brute and the tutorial boss used to also have this placeholder image until it was recently fixed, I would have to assume. But interestingly enough, when PvP mode was first added, the tank was able to be spawned in, and actually, this is the icon used for the tank. Now, for the next day, the tank was replaced actually with the brute enemy, which is the actual enemy that was meant to spawn in, but the brute enemy carried this, I want to say, placeholder image over, and yeah, it actually kept it around for a while until the 24th of July 2025, when it was replaced with the actual image for the brute. And you may ask, well, who's this guy? Well, this is apparently a YouTuber called Jeremiah something. Germa985. So he is a American live streamer, YouTuber, performance artist, and voice actor known for elaborate Twitch live streams incorporating surreal comedy. No idea what he's doing in Tower Defense Simulator, but he's now included in Tower Defense Simulator. So, yeah, fair enough. I guess the developers kind of liked his stuff and decided to use an image of him in Tower Defense Simulator as a placeholder icon. I don't know why. They have used weirder placeholder things in the past, like Lil Nas X in Act 1 cutscenes. I don't know if you remember that. Lil Nas X just appearing there out of nowhere, right? That's just funny. But yes, we got a YouTuber appearance from Jeremiah985 before, I don't know, other YouTubers. I can't say the messy skin because we actually did get the messy skin this year as well. So, you know what? Maybe the developers are fulfilling dreams out there. And obviously, as Tower Defense Simulator has, I guess, professionalized over the years, there have been less and less placeholders in Tower Defense Simulator. I don't know if you remember, but the premium crate icon, or when you loaded the store for the first time, and the crate store specifically, it had a Yo Mama joke here, and the placeholder icon, I guess, wasn't really that much of a placeholder. It was the old premium crate icon, but it was still a placeholder, and the text certainly here was a placeholder. But yeah, the only other thing that I can really think of that appears regularly as a placeholder is normally like the index icons, and really it's only the PNG bots from 1 all the way up to 4 which regularly appear here. Oh, and they still haven't fixed the Datura boss icon. It still shows up as the placeholder icon. Again, I don't know why they've used a cat as a placeholder icon, because like I know the developers are like a big fan of cats, I guess, because I mean they own a couple, like some of the developers own it because those are the icons used for the PNG bots. Still, it's a weird placeholder image. I can't like, you could professionalize the placeholder image a bit more, come on. But I can see that they have actually given the brutes its correct icon now, which is cool. Now, I think the practice of using placeholder images in Total Defense Simulator stems from the original badges used for the Easter 2020 event, when they used, I guess, I don't really say fake images, but these images here, they are placeholder images of a kind, and this references a game that I think Below Natural used to play. I think it's a Cat in the Hat or something like that. No, not the Cat in the Hat, but there is a game that Below Natural does reference, or at least used to reference quite a fair bit back in the day. Can't remember the name of it right now. I think it's something along the lines of the Cat in the Hat, but still, I'm close. It's A Hat in Time. That's the game that Below Natural was referencing here. So this character on the cover of A Hat in Time, I think in the main character as well, this is the placeholder image used for the original badges, and this idea, I guess, of placeholder images is where it stems from. And interestingly enough, if you go to the badge section of the game and then go down to here, you still see a placeholder image, more professional placeholder image, but still a placeholder image for Defeat the Brute in easy mode. There is still a question mark for the badge for Defeat the Brute, where for the other badges in Tower Defense Simulator, for the main modes, there are actual legitimate badges, even if they aren't really that professionally made, such as Patient Zero doesn't have the border as the Molten Warlord, Fallen King, or Gravedigger does, but the Brute just doesn't have a proper badge image in the first place. I don't know why the developers still have not got round to actually making a badge icon for this, given the fact that this has been in the game since at least the 14th of March, so over 4 months at this point. So developers, you can, you know, get your work on for that, but still, like placeholder images, when there's like a professional front to it and it's really hard to actually get to, there is still some circumstance where they do occur. It's just the cat images, I don't know why they exist still, because like while all the other placeholder images seen in this update no longer occur, the one with the cat with its tongue out for the PvP season pass still occurs. Don't know why. And who could forget these placeholder images of the Ducky, or what appears to be Ducky, inside an egg, that's like a Stellenbosch test, which looks really weird and kind of creepy, I can't lie. There's also the case where the Gravedigger shocked face, that's also a placeholder image, as you can see here. Then we've got the case of the Umbria also being used as a placeholder image for a badge, etc, etc. Like, for example, the Necromancer, the Game Pass icon also being used as a placeholder image. Badges are really common to see these types of placeholder images. The only other instance that I can think of in Tower Defense Simulator where a placeholder image is still commonly used, that isn't the cat icon, is another cat icon. So if you go into units and then go here, you can see another cat with its tongue sticking out being used for the Molten Monster icon. For some reason, the Molten Monster icon doesn't have its own icon in sandbox mode, and instead another placeholder image is used, and I don't know why this placeholder icon is still here. Also, you are very, very loud, I can't lie.